Okay, guys, this is another video that I'm preparing for y'all. I'm actually going to be discussing how we approach investigations, how we do research, and stuff like that for the clients and the location. When we do get the phone call from a private residence or a what we call a commercial location, the first thing I do is I will talk to the client over the phone, ask them exactly what has happened, what's going on, what are the claims of the area. For instance, if there's, they're hearing footsteps or somebody is being touched or physically abused as far as being pushed, shoved, slapped, anything like that. And what I do is when I'm on the phone talking to them, I try to find out exactly what is going on in the house or the location. After that, I will get their information. I'll write down their address, their telephone number, their names, and then I'll write the claims down. I then send that to my case manager, Ashley Woodall, and Craig McDaniels. We actually have two case managers. And I fill them in on the information, and then they will call the investigators out in the field and tell them exactly what's going on, and pretty much do the same thing as far as writing down the claims and stuff like that and filling in the investigators. Once we set a date, that is the case manager's responsibility. We will set a date and we do show up to the location. Now the first thing we do is, if it's a residential to where they're really upset, they really want to know what's going on, the first thing that I try to do is to get them to be as calm as possible. In other words, I ensure them that everything's going to be okay, that we're going to get to the bottom of what's going on. That's why we're there. We're there to help them and to find out exactly what is going on. Okay. Then we'll take a tour, and usually when we take a tour of the location, we walk with the client. Me and the other co-founder, Chris, are usually the only ones that walk the location. While we're doing that, the other investigators are getting the equipment out, getting it ready to go, making sure the batteries are charged in all the equipment and everything else. We like for them to show us where the claims are. For instance, if they're sitting on a couch and somebody gets shoved or anything like that, then we like to know exactly where the positions are, where they're seeing this location or seeing these apparitions and stuff like that. So then what we do is we do a location, we do a tour of the location, and start to evaluate what we think is going on. Okay, it could be a number of things. It could be a panel box shooting an EMF field, just a lot of stuff that so we're pretty much, in other words, we're pretty much already in debunking mode while we're taking a tour of the location. Then after that, what we do is we come back, we fill in the investigators on the places we want the camera set up. That's usually with our tech manager, John Harris. He's in charge of getting the equipment ready, setting the cameras up and stuff like that. After we get everything set up, we go lights out and we start investigating. Depending on what the claims are, that's kind of the way you have to approach each one, because each case is different. They're not the same. And that's what's so great about this field and this job that we do is it's different every time. You have similar claims, but the location's different. So you have to really study the location where you're at, as far as how many rooms are in the location. Is it a two-story house or a two-story building? Is it a three-story building? So you have to cover everything really good. Okay. We then start the investigation. We start, depending on the claims, once again, we ask, we get our digital recorders and we'll start asking questions relating to the location, because we do our history and research of the place as much as we can before we go in, so we know pretty much the history of the location before we even start the investigation. Once the investigation is completed and we've done our analysis of the investigation, what we do is we tell the client that it usually takes about a week to 2 weeks to review all the evidence, because after we're done with the investigation, We then have to come home, meet at somebody's home, and then we review everything. So if you're talking about a excuse me, about a 12-hour investigation that lasts 12 hours, well, you're going to have to take, if you use 2 recorders, you got to double that time. So if you got 12 hours on one recorder, 12 hours on another, that's 24 hours of evidence that you have to review. So it takes time to do that. And we review everything. Then what we do, and this is what I love about us as a group, me and Chris do not make the final decisions on this. We include everybody in the group. We meet at a location after all the evidence is reviewed, and we listen to we let the other investigators listen to what we've caught, and we all come to the same conclusion. It's very, very important that if one person has a question about an EVP or a supposed shadow that we've caught, then everybody else has to be on the same page. That's how we get our true evidence. Is we have a saying in this group that when in doubt, we throw it out. So in other words, if it's not 100% conclusive and it can be explained away by anybody in that group, we throw it out. We don't accept it as evidence, and we'll throw it out. Everybody has to be on the same page. And the reason we do that is because this field is so questionable. And instead of letting just 2 people make a decision or 3 people make a decision, we let everybody make the decision. And we discuss each and every, if I catch 5 EVPs, then we discuss each EVP. And everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to be in the same mindset as, okay, that's an unexplainable voice. We can't explain it, so we have evidence. Okay, if we can explain it away as being traffic in the background or a dog barking outside, and we have one investigator that says, I think that's a dog, then we investigate it further, and if it turns out that's what it is, then that, we throw it out. So you have to be 100% sure. You can't be 95% sure. You can't be 98% sure. You have to be 100% sure that what you're hearing and what you're seeing on cameras is what it is. Because if you take that evidence and you bring it to the client and you say, okay, let's say it is a dog outside, and you bring it to the client and you say, okay, this is what we caught. This sounds like a voice, when actually it's a dog outside, then that client is going to take that and they're going to believe every word you say. So you have to be 100% sure on how you present your evidence to the client. You've got to be confident on what you're doing. You've got to be 100% satisfied that what you caught is what it is. And that's what I like about us as a group, is we all do it together. We don't do it separate. It ain't just me and Chris as far as saying, okay, we believe this is an EVP and you guys have to accept that. We don't do that. A lot of groups do that, but we don't. We let all of our investigators in on the sessions and reviewing and having a roundtable discussion about what it is that we're catching. So after we get done with that, and if we do catch something that we think is paranormal activity, we come back to the clients, we sit down with them, and we explain to them exactly what we think is going on in their home. We used an example the other day when we talked to you guys on the phone about the case where the woman had the power lines going over her child's bedroom. And she actually had another group come in, and they just took her for her money, pretty much, is what they did. And I hate to say that about some groups, but that's exactly what they did. Took the autistic child pillow pet away from him and just devastated the child. Said there was a vortex in the room, in her bedroom. Said, I think they were talking about having 3 to 4 ghosts in there. Well, we were able to come in. She was ready to up and move. She was up and ready to leave her location. She had had enough. She paid them $200, and they went about their way, and she's never heard from them again. So what we did is we came in, and we were able to debunk 100% of everything that was going on in her house. There was no vortex. There was no 3 to 4 spirits in her home. She had a huge EMF field that was emitting from those power lines that was above her house, making her child sick. And come to find out, after we did research with the child through her, that he was hypersensitive to these EMF fields. And if you're sensitive to these EMF fields, they can make you physically sick. They can give you paranoia, make you see things. There's a broad study on EMF fields right now. The bigger the electronic device, the more powerful the EMF fields are. So that's just one instance where we were able to come in and diffuse the situation with the client and make her feel 100% better. I actually talked to her a couple of weeks ago, and she actually took and moved the bed from one side of the house to another room. So the child is a lot better now, and we went and bought him another pillow pet. So he does have another pillow pet, and that made his day according to her. So we were able to diffuse that situation. Now, if we get into a situation where there is paranormal activity going on and somebody is having a problem as far as being physically pushed or slapped around or anything like that, then what we'll have to do is we'll have to take further steps into, going in and pretty much just telling the client to take control of the situation. We educate them on how to go in and retake their house, so to speak. And that's, 90% of that is if you show no fear to them, then they're going to back off a little bit. And they have been instances where they have left the house altogether. We had a client down in Atlanta, in Roswell actually, and we went in and I pretty much put my foot down and told the spirit that if I had to come back here, that it will leave this house one way or the other. Well, I talked to the guy a couple of weeks later, asked him how it was going, and he said, I don't know what you guys did, but the activity is gone. It's left. So, it just takes, each situation is different. Each situation has to be approached differently, and that's what I like about this field, is it's not the same routine as far as different locations and stuff. Everything is just different all the time, and you really have to do your research into the location or the residence, and then set up a way you want to take on the investigation. So that's really what I like about doing this. But as far as reviewing the evidence, as far as I know, there's not another group around that does it the way we do it, where everybody in the group is involved in it. Everybody makes a decision, and they have to be 100% on board with that decision. And that's the only way you're going to really find true evidence or not. And to be honest with you, we've been in a lot of cases where we haven't found it. Everybody was on the same page with it. And then, there's some times where we just have really, really big time arguments. We just, we're so passionate about this that if one of my investigators thinks it's one thing and the other investigator thinks it's another thing, we're not getting up in each other's faces wanting to fight, but we have arguments and we try to prove our point to each other, and eventually, we come to a conclusion. And it can be difficult sometimes, but we do come to the conclusion, and that's what I like about it. It involves everybody. So that's pretty much the way it is as far as reviewing and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the way we approach everything. I know it's a short, basic video, but if you guys need more information on this, just feel free to email me or call me. Emily's got my number and stuff, so if you have any more questions, just let me know. But that's the general approach that we take to it. There is obviously a lot more to it than that. So it's just knowing your history and doing research and just knowing the field and knowing how to use the equipment and stuff like that. So if you guys got any questions, you want to send more videos, just let me know, and we'll make it happen. Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.